everyone. We welcome you to One Primetime today. Again, I'm Kathy Baker. It is my pleasure to have some very special guests on today, our top producers. One thing that we are very committed to with One Primetime is actionable training, meaning that you can watch today and you can go back and apply something to your practices to make a difference. And just imagine if you were to go back and apply that tool, that resource, that habit. We're going to talk a little bit about habits today, that you could actually close one transaction. Whatever your average transaction is here in Raleigh, North Carolina, where I'm near, ours is $8,200. So that would be $8,200 for this hour. So thank you for investing in us. Let's figure out what we can do and go back and get a really good ROI on your time. What I would love to see is if any of you are having watch parties, if how many people you have in the room, and I'd love to know what you're eating. Yep, because it's 1 o'clock here and I'd love to know what you're eating. So I want to take a moment to welcome everyone. I want to start with two of my partners that I'm glad to have. Paige, introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about your role as core products account executive. And then if Taylor just wants to speak to everyone and let us know.
Yeah, happy to. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining. Thanks for having me, Kathy. As Kathy said, I'm Paige Ortiz. I'm the Core Product Account Executive at Realty One Group. I have been with Realty One Group for 6 years now and really focused on our partners. So the tools and products in the one tool chest that hopefully all of you are familiar with, and really just making those as strong of products as possible for you all to use in your business, whether that's for lead generation, staying in front of your SOI, or marketing in many different facets. So I'm really excited to hear how our experts today, Esteban and Kathleen, have used those tools to benefit their business. And I'd love to hear from you guys and how we can make those tools better for you.
Taylor, welcome.
Hi, Taylor Christensen, VP of Marketing and Business Development. So all things products along with Paige and Marketplace. So the additional tools that you can invest in to grow your business and build your tool stack.
One reason I'm so honored to have both of them on is please utilize the chat line to let us see how we can help you. If you have questions, we're also going to, to have that opportunity, hopefully at the end, to have a few questions. Kathleen, better known as Kathy, tell us who you are, where you're from, and we are so honored to have you with us today.
Thank you for having me. I was surprised to get the invite, so it's my honor to be here. I am a Philadelphia suburban native. I graduated from East Stroudsburg University with a degree in nursing, and I worked as a nurse for many years. I also have 4 sons. They're all still at home. Some of them are gonna be leaving soon. And I have a husband named Jim Fitzgerald. I have not changed my last name yet. We got married in 2021. And I got more busy in real estate in about 2016, because at first, when I first started, I got licensed the end of 13. I was still working as a nurse. My kids were young. I was, team mom of the football team, like all that stuff. So now I'm full-time the last, 10 or so years, and I love what I do.
Well, thank you for joining us. Kathleen is with ROG Restore. She was one of their first agents to join, right? And
Yep.
can I assume you're an Eagles fan?
Yes.
Fly, Eagles, fly.
Yep.
Esteban, welcome.
Hey there,
Tell us
Kathy.
about you.
So, I'm Esteban Rosales. I've been a licensed realtor for about the last 4 years. I'm a second generation realtor. Uh, what else could I say? I'm a soon-to-be father. I'm engaged to my beautiful fiance, Giselle Garcia. And yeah, I mean, I'm very blessed to be in this business and in the position that I'm in. And I'm also the youngest elected official in my city of San Luis. So I just won my election. So now this is going to be my first year in city council.
Congratulations. And Yuma, if you haven't been there, is absolutely beautiful. And it's this is one of those little things that lives in my head. It's the lettuce capital of the U.S., right? So when you go, it's extremely green to be in the middle of the desert. You don't expect it to look like it does. We are excited to have these guests because one of our targets this year is to be very relatable. And what we were able to discover through Paige's help and Taylor's assistance is the consistency of the two of you in your production, and that you've utilized the tools and the resources provided by you. So, Kathleen, we'll start with you. You went from nursing to real estate. What attracted you?
I like the flexibility. I didn't like it with nursing. I would work 10, 12 hours, not be able to check my phone, not know what's going on with my family, and really not even be able to take a lunch break. So I like the flexibility. I know we can work any 80 hours of the week we choose, but but I like, you need energy, enthusiasm. I love educating people, and I really enjoy, because I never really thought about it too much. I just felt like it was a good match for me. I really enjoy using the creative part of my mind to problem solve and things like that.
Oh, that's great. I'm going to come back to you because I think being in nursing, you probably have instilled really good habits. And we want to talk about habits in just a minute. Esteban, are you going to tell us your dad made you do it, or what are you going to tell us about your
No.
pathway?
So before, he always told me, don't get into real estate, do something else. But I tried other things. I worked on cars. I was a mechanic for a bit. I went to school. And then I just came to the conclusion. I was like, actually, I grew up with my dad, Shelly and Uriel, in the real estate business, and it just clicked. It's something I always wanted to do. I just wanted to try other things before I actually started going into real estate. And so once I got my license, it was around the same time that we opened up Realty One Group Gateway here in Yuma. And so I've been here since the beginning of our little family here, our one family. And I've loved every moment of it. I don't think I'll be able to be anything else but a realtor for the rest of my life, God willing, But yeah, so I enjoyed it a lot.
Great. So, Kathleen, talk to us a little bit. We want to talk about habits, and we want to talk about we're coming into the middle of the second month of the year, middle of the first quarter, and we talked before we went live about the market. And you said that you really feel the vibe is more like it was a few years ago, and the vibe is coming back. So one thing that's really important, number one, if anyone on the call has not done a business plan, let's do it as soon as we can so that we know which direction we're going. And what are the habits that we need? What are the things that you can do every day to make sure that you're averaging 1 to 2 to 3, whatever that goal is, number of closing and transactions per month?
Okay, so for me, it's always being energetic and cheerful, is like when working with my clients. Maybe behind the scenes they don't see some other stuff, but they don't care if I'm having a bad day. They just want their goals met. They want to have a good time doing it. So I have to put some of that stuff aside and focus on them. I love learning. I think the more you learn and the more places you put yourself, home inspections, any classroom setting, any opportunity to learn, I highly encourage you to do that, because it's going to increase your confidence. And when you have more confidence, you can now convert prospects to clients a lot more easily. And I would also recommend from the very beginning, or start it now if you haven't been doing it, surround yourself with people that you admire, you like their marketing, you like their personality, you see how good they interact with their clients, and you can learn from them. Surround yourself with those people. It's not hard to do. Show up at the office, go to the classes, ask someone out for lunch. We have one chat every Friday. Attend that. You're going to find who you click with, and then just spend time with them, and you're going to pick up on those habits.
Yeah, I know that. I know Taylor well enough. Extraordinary customer service and experience is extremely important to Taylor. And I think that's what you're saying. And to deliver that, you have to be surrounded. I know both of you, I know both of your broker owners extremely well, both at Restore and at Gateway, and they set the tone for you. They set the tone for that leadership, and they set the bar, and they set that high expectation of performance. So that's really important. And I love what you're saying about showing up and awareness. And how hard is that some days?
Well,
You're surrounded by all men, so some days it's hard, right?
it's People don't know how hard it is to be successful at what we do. They just don't. They see a lot of the signs in the yard and some of the flashy stuff maybe, but they don't see the behind the scenes. And it really becomes eye-opening for people that had no idea. Like my husband, he said, "Wow, like I had no idea what goes on behind the scenes. The questions you answer, the things that come up." So there's never a boring day. That's for sure.
Yeah, for
Um,
sure.
yeah.
Esteban, if you had to say those habits, those practices, what would they be for you to
Like,
stay in the game every day, show up?
so those habits are making sure that you're at least calling leads 1 hour a day, early in the morning or even in the afternoon. That's the best time to get people. Making sure that you're staying well connected on social media, making sure that your footprint is there, whether it's being just making posts or making videos. Home tours, people love home tours, especially if you post them on TikTok and you put the hashtags. So those are little habits that I've picked up along the years, and also watching my dad do that while me growing up alongside with him and his 18-year long career. Just knowing that if you keep a schedule and you time block everything, you'll be successful in anything you do, especially like um, getting yourself out there in the community, being communicate like community engagement or helping out your local association, like all that stuff helps you out because people see that, they notice that, so that gets your name out. So what you want is name recognition, and when people recognize your name, then a lot of people come to you for information and advice. And I believe in the last couple of years, that's what's kept us busy, knowing that we stay to the same schedule of calling people, following up with people, past clients, and word by mouth is always the biggest. So when you have that many years of real estate behind you and so many clients that you helped out and worked with, that takes you a long way.
So you shared something about marketing and consistency. What tools are both of you using? And I'm going to share a little bit of in just a moment. I would like to share a little bit of what Kathleen's doing, but I want to start with you, Esteban. You talked about TikTok. How much video are you doing, and what does that look like? What's the frequency? Um, what are you doing
So
around that? How intentional is that?
so like if I have a listing coming up, first thing I go do is obviously go take all the pictures you got to take for the listing, but also take videos for TikTok and Instagram, because I've noticed that when you post videos on Instagram, TikTok, or Facebook, people tend to appeal to those more than the actual physical posts. And just getting into the habit of knowing your own process of how to make a video. It doesn't have to be 5 minutes long. I've learned that people have short attention spans sometimes. So anything under 60 seconds is perfect, especially since we do a lot of new construction where we're at. Um, we work for a builder, so every time we have a new home, we make sure to take a video of it, post it on social media, and then people see it and they start asking for more information. So that helps out us a lot. And then when it comes to just making regular posts, I use the One Design, One Creative Studio. That helps out so much. Just be able to go on there, make a quick listing post or just sold post or under contract. It just helps out so much. It just saves us on time because time is of the essence, and you want to make the best of all your time. So having that tool helps us out a lot.
So is there protocol around that? I mean, do you have a checklist where you're saying, um, I do the TikTok and post it, and I do this and I do that? And I mean, is it a checklist so that you're ensuring that you do it every time that for that consistency?
So yes, there's a checklist, but now that I have it ingrained in my head, like I don't really have to look at it anymore. But before, I would always have to make sure to remind myself to put in the house information at the bottom, make sure that our name and our information and company logo is on the video, the MLS logo is on there, making sure that we post it on the Facebook Marketplace, that we post it on Instagram, on TikTok, making sure the caption for the video is um, it is attention grabbing, and that that it's gonna a viewer's gonna gravitate towards it just by the caption. Sometimes people don't think that really makes a difference, but sometimes it does, especially once you give them a little bit more information. And right at the bottom, just remember, put your name, your number, and where they could call you for more information, and the calls start coming in, or the
Y-
messages.
Do you find that's become a really important part of your listing presentation that you're doing the video?
Yes, it really has, because there's listings that we've gotten that they say, hey, we've seen your videos on Facebook. We know your guys' name. We know the product. Can you please list our house and have the same quality of service that you did for your previous clients? And so that just goes and tracks for everything else that we do. And as long as you keep consistent with it, it helps out a lot. I know something we've started doing a lot more recently is like the 3D home tour videos.
Oh, okay.
Well, the like the Pivio stand that goes, and or the Rico, whatever you guys use, whatever's in the budget. But that also helps out a lot too to attract clients, because once you put that into your MLS, if it has that feature, it goes out to Zillow, goes out to realtor.com, and that just, again, it just adding to your artillery of things that you could offer to your clients. Um, Sometimes people say more is not better, but in this case, when you want to stay relevant and making sure that you're staying busy and showing your worth as a realtor and this changing market of ours, that's those things like that are always key.
I'm going to share now, if you can see the screen. It's one of Kathleen's beautiful pieces. Paige, I want to pause a moment. Thank you for responding in the chat. Do you want to say a few words about the question that was posed?
Yeah, so we got one design question mark. And I love questions like that because it's an opportunity for our network to learn more about the provided tools. So if you go into your one login dashboard, there is a bucket, it's called one tool chest. And looking at that category, we have tons and tons of products that we offer. Totally, part of your membership. There's no additional cost for you to use those. One Design Creative Studio is a favorite. It gets a lot of adoption, and as Esteban alluded to, it's really easy to use for making marketing material. Actually, exactly like the graphic that's being shown on the screen here. The great part is that it's going to pull in all of your information from your zone profile. So that's your headshot, your contact info, your website. And then it's also integrated with your MLS. So if you're creating a listing marketing piece, it's going to, with your MLS ID number, it's going to pull in all those listing details as well. So it saves you a lot of time when you're creating these marketing pieces on the fly. You're not having to retype the information, and you can immediately send it off to your social media sites or download it, even professionally print it if you're wanting to do some mailers. So there's lots of options. Definitely check it out.
Great. Any more questions around that? Please put it in the chat. Taylor, did you want to add to that? Did you have anything?
I think Paige did a great job explaining the creative studio. I wanted to chime in on the first question you asked when you said, I think, what are your daily 3 habits?
Right.
And I love the take from both professionals. They're both been in the business for a while. They're both very successful. But Kathleen really talked a lot about mindset, having an optimistic outlook, being positive, learning, always being a learner, and then that builds your confidence, right? It's like knowing your numbers, knowing what you're doing. And then Esteban took it from that like discipline standpoint, having structure, having that checklist. And I think that really speaks to the 2 types of professionals that we have, and both of them are right, and both of them are successful. But that's what you need to be a successful real estate agent. You need to have that mindset and that discipline.
I love that. And that, we say internally and sometimes externally, real estate is simple but not easy. And the business really is simple, but Kathleen, as you said, it's hard. You have a lot of disruptions. There's a lot of emotion involved around the purchase of a home sale. It is not HGTV where, whatever those crazy shows are. Kathleen, do you want to talk a little bit about this document? You're doing beautiful marketing. I want to point out a couple of things that are just really classic and just really speak to the significance of what you're doing. I mean, your logo is beautiful. Tell us a little bit about how you use this tool.
So I started doing this a few months ago. I wanted to commit to more consistency with my marketing, and I'm not your TikTok girl. Like that's just, I think you have to do what's in line with your personality. I'm more of a numbers data person. I've done a little bit of video, but it's something I just don't feel 100% comfortable with all the time to commit to the consistency, but I knew I could commit to this. So I do 4 of these per week. And why I do them is it's research we should be doing anyway. We should know our market. That's what we do. Like if you worked at the Gap, you would know what clothes were on sale. We sell houses. We should know what's out there, how long things are taking to sell, all that. So that's already something I should be doing and we all should be doing anyway. So why not put it on a slide and launch it out there to social media? I post to Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and to my Google business page. And like I said, I do 4 per week. I choose different towns or school districts and I look at the data and I've gotten really quick at it because I'm so used to doing it now. So I feel like it shows people that I work in more than just one town. And I feel like I'm hoping it's creating me to be top of mind. Like, wait, Kath is always putting these things out. Wait, she works in Collegeville. Wait, my mom wants to sell in Harleysville, all that. So those are my goals. That's what I've been doing. I've gotten a lot of great feedback from people, I see around town. So I like doing it. I find that it's easier to have conversations day to day too.
Well, I'm going to ask you the same thing I asked Esteban. How much of this do you think is a listing tool for you? And how does it help you set the expectation um, in the listing or working with buyers? How are you using it? How is it applied that way?
I personally, I feel like I use it a little bit more with buyers, the knowledge that I've gathered from this, because I'm looking at the data so often. We still have a lot of bidding wars in my area, and when people understand that these houses are only going to be on the market for a couple days, that they need to schedule a showing as soon as possible and write a strong offer right out of the gate because you can't be guaranteed that there's going to be an offer deadline set. With listings, I think it just shows that I'm on top of what's going on in the market. And I mean, my listing presentation doesn't necessarily include this yet. I guess it could. But yeah.
What do you, but I love this. I think this is great. I love the fact that you're doing it per community or per neighborhood. I love the fact that you're using the tools that we're providing for you with the brand and that you're not having to go in and recreate a lot of information. How long what kind of investment of time are you looking at for these?
So, and this is where, like, if we get to that topic later on, if I knew this way back when, and that would be time blocking, I have to turn off my phone and just eliminate all, distractions because then I can do it a lot quicker. So time blocking for me is huge. Uh, but one other thing I wanted to point out, and please bring me back if I'm going off
Okay, no, you're
tangent,
fine.
one thing I like about this and how you said it's provided for us, I've played around with other platforms and I was disappointed. The one time it took me so long to put a slide together, I was doing like a just sold or whatever, and I wanted to put more than one house. But I realized after I took all that time and posted it to social media that to see the full picture, you actually had to click on it. And I was like, oh no, they're not going to see like the top house and the bottom part. So I didn't like the way that looked. This is always going to look this way. Like you don't have to click on it for it to get bigger. So maybe that's obvious. Maybe I'm showing my age, but like for me, I feel like when I'm in the one suite design studio, I don't have to worry about any of that.
I think what you talked about is using your skill for what you need it for, right? So you know the data. We already created the templates for you. Just plug them in.
Yep.
Don't spend that additional hour getting really creative. And it's fun. I get into the creative weeds a lot too. And then you take a step back and you're like, wait, why did I just spend 2 hours doing that?
Mm-hmm.
I could have been making calls. I could have been having coffee. I could have been putting my listing presentation together.
Yep.
Paige and Taylor, you know what I love? They're both speaking to what they enjoy about the business. And I kind of want to point that out to everyone on the call. Don't feel like, and if you're in the room with other people, have a discussion after the call about this. What is your strength? And clearly, Esteban, you're very comfortable with video. You're very comfortable with TikTok. You realize it doesn't have to be 5 minutes, as you said. It doesn't have to be perfect. People want you. And I love the fact, Kathleen, that you're investing your time in what you love, which is the numbers and the data. And both of those are critically important. And there's the thing I love about real estate, and I had this conversation yesterday on a podcast. what I love about real estate is how varied it is. And you can take the skill set and the passion you have and apply it to that part of the business. And what I'm so excited about our brand is we give you the tools for that. So, whichever it is that you need, just plug into that and use it. And then later come back, and Paige can speak to that a little bit. Later come back and add a tool or a resource, or find an accountability partner in the office that can say, I love doing this. Let me show you how to do the market report, and you show me how to do a quick video. So, do you want to speak, Paige, just a moment about some of the training
Yeah, I think the
modules?
beautiful part of Realty One Group and our one tool chest is that no one's tool chest is going to look the same. You can really build and stack the different partners and providers based on what really works for your business and what your habits are. So if you really like, to have everything listed out, you like to create your to-do list very manually, you can do that. If you want more of an automated system, we have solutions for that as well. Um, I think that, I always tell people when they're new to Realty One Group, you don't have to adopt every tool. Find out where you struggle or you need a little bit more assistance. Like for me, I'm not a designer, so I love the Creative Studio because there's ready-made templates there. I don't have to spend a lot of time thinking about what my design or my brand needs to look like. And people are going to be on the other side of the spectrum too. Maybe they need just a little bit more organization, and their OneSuite CRM is going to really come in handy there. Or maybe they're not very tech savvy and building a website seems like a monumentous task. We have the OneSuite websites ready to go and a few toggles. You can customize it to really speak to your market. So I think that that's really neat. Actually, I had a question for Kathleen, and I also saw it in the chat because you said data is kind of your bread and butter. Where do you go to find that data? Because I think as a real estate professional, there's a lot of different options. I'm just really curious to see what you're comfortable using.
Yeah, so our MLS out here is called Bright. So I go to, the MLS we use every day, and I just pull up the town, like to do this specific slide that was just up. So type in the town Collegeville. I don't do coming soon. I just hit active and closed the last 30 days, and then boom. And then I just sort it by price and then by active versus closed. And then the data is all right there. And then I do a little write up with that. I don't just post a slide. I do a write up saying, we had anywhere from 20,000 under to 100,000 over asking this past month in Collegeville, with, 4 houses out of the 10 or whatever the number is sold within 7 days, the other 4 took or whatever, blah, 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 and blah days. And it gives people an idea that not every house sells in 5 days or 7 days, so that's what my write-up, it just gives a little more information.
Do you
Oh, and
also write those up as a blog post and then put it on your website?
yeah, so I post that as my picture, and then, oh no, I should. No, I haven't done it on the website yet, but I probably should.
I
But
think
no,
it would be really good for SEO for you.
yeah.
I'm also thinking, because you obviously, it sounds like you can analyze the data and you can summarize it in a way that somebody who's not familiar with the market, they can easily digest it. When you're speaking, I'm thinking of also our partner, RPR, Realtor Property Resource, for those that have it available. They have a really cool AI tool where you can, kind of create the data set you want, and then the AI will tell you exactly what that means for the market. So if you're, maybe not as strong as Kathleen in that area, you have assistance there as well.
Oh, and one other thing, I always try to take, if I already spent the time, because I'm really careful about my time, I always like to take things one step further. So if I'm doing a mailer, I'll just cut out like a little print up here. It says, look for me on Facebook for my market updates. And it's important that you make it public so that people can just look you up and then check that out. And then if open house, I'll have a couple of these laying out and I'll hand them to people like, hey, thanks for coming to my open house. Please, check me out, check out my market updates. So I try to like exhaust it as much as I can. I already took the time, so I'm gonna put it everywhere.
I think the market updates are really important. I used to do them a lot. I haven't done them in a while. I'll be very honest on that, but they are very important because not a lot of agents know that that is a key tool of marketing and approach or attracting clients. I've noticed when I used to do the market updates, I used to record myself giving the information. And people would be like, wow, it's surprising that there's that many listings active right now. It's taking that long to sell a house. And how many houses been sold in the last 7 to 30 days? So uh, Kathleen is on the right track when it comes to marketing for your business. Market updates are one of the most important ones. So plot like sellers and buyers understand what type of market they're in and how they're allowed to make their offers and go about to how what houses to see in what areas.
You know, I love the collaborative energy here that Esteban's saying, you know what, now I may do it and record them. And so there's just so many applications here. I'm telling you, the chat line, I'm having a hard time. When I was sharing the screen, I couldn't read the chat, and I came back and went, oh my goodness, I don't know if I can catch up. I want to highlight one thing, and Taylor and Paige, please add. Scott Bergman, who is maybe one of my favorite people. Also, don't be afraid to leverage your brokerage's success. So if you're new, what he's saying is if you're new to the industry and you don't have great stats yet, lean into the brokerage until you start to have your own good numbers and showcase the office listings that are closed and how strong and how well your office is doing. And just a little spoiler. Next one Primetime, Scott is going to be our guest. So look for more insight and wisdom from him. So that's just a little hint. And that's coming up on the 5th of March. So please save the date. Taylor, Paige, any of these that you want to add? Okay, Savag, who is our wizard of digital and technology, says post your blogs, add your vlogs, YouTube videos to your OneSuite site as blog and share that link on your social drive traffic to your digital hub. So what he's talking about here is Google Juice, right? Just getting all that up. Do either of you want to speak to that?
Yeah, I'll take it. Yeah, so essentially what you're trying to do as an online business professional is creating SEO behind your website, driving people online who maybe don't know you yet, but are searching on Google, real estate professional in my area, realtor near me, that they're going to be driven back to your website. And I saw in the chat somebody said, is blog still relevant? Yeah, they are extremely
Yeah, they are.
relevant because Google is looking at those blogs. They're dissecting all of the verbiage, the keywords that are in there, and then it's verifying your business and your expertise in the area of real estate. So essentially, it's pushing your website higher up in the Google search results, and that's just making you more visible online. So I think that maybe people aren't sitting there and reading word for word every single blog that you post, but it is giving that Google juice back to your website.
That's so
Yeah.
critical.
Yeah.
And that cost what?
0. Yeah. Just
Yeah,
your time and
just your
energy.
time, just your time. And you can even, we'll talk to Scott on the 5th about that. We'll even talk about letting AI help you do that and identifying what those keywords are. So we're going to keep building on this. Robert says, what is Google Juice? That is your SEO. That's your search engine optimization. And I just call it Google Juice because I'm sorry, but I go a little Southern on you every now and then, Robert, and that just happened. Esteban.
Can I speak on Google a little bit?
Absolutely.
So Rate My Agent and Google work hand in hand. You guys have to get those reviews in because that's what puts you on top of the list of any search when someone looks like here in Yuma, if someone or in San Luis, let's say San Luis, I'll use my dad as an example. If someone looks up realtors in San Luis, Arizona, Matias is one of the first ones to pop up there because again, he never forgets to send his Google review and his Rate My Agent, even though they're both connected together. The more the merrier, and that's how you get more clients. So people use Google a lot. So you want to make sure you're getting those reviews from a client whether it's a bad or good transaction, but either or, as long as you get a review in there, you're up there on the Google recommendations for realtors.
And I want to add my friend, see, I was hanging out with a friend that's really good in my office. Her name is Cindy. She said, when something good happens before closing, that's when you ask for the review. Don't wait till they're unpacking boxes and settlement happened. You're hopefully the last thing on their mind at that point. You want to do it like before they get to the closing table, right after something good happened. And since I'd picked up that tip from her, I've done a lot better with getting reviews.
And I have to tell you, we have a population, not a generation. This is not generational. We have a population that scratches and sniffs before they utilize any resource. And I don't buy anything on Amazon that I don't read the reviews. And I don't know how many of you do that. So it's not generational. It's become a way of life. So Paige and Taylor and I are doing this dance because we love Rate My Agent. How many of you put in the chat? How many of you have utilized Rate My Agent? I want to know if you have. If good. Paige, I'm gonna let you take this and speak to it for a moment.
Yeah. I'm so excited that Esteban mentioned Rate My Agent. I've been sitting here just trying to keep it in the whole time. They're an awesome partner of ours because, like Esteban said, they have the SEO kind of figured out. They have that formula down pat. And every verified review that you can collect through Rate My Agent, they syndicate that to your OneSuite website if you have that widget turned on. We actually just released an enhancement where we're syndicating your reviews to your Realty One Group professional profile. So when consumers are looking on map.realty1group.com, they can easily find you there as well. And yeah, it's just kind of closing that loop of wanting to scratch and sniff about, a potential new buyer or listing agent and finding that verification through Google and through the voices of your past clients. So I think it's a really outstanding tool. If you have past clients, adopt Rate My Agent. And they make it really easy to collect those reviews as well. You can automate that review request. So it happens automatically when your transaction goes to close. You can also make it more personalized if that's your vibe, that's what you're looking for. And they also have an automation to syndicate those reviews out to your social media platforms as well. And if you wanted to upgrade, you could syndicate those to your Google business profile, like Esteban, and it sounds like his dad does as just an extra benefit cherry on top to lead generation. That's what I hear. People don't think of reviews as a lead generation product, but over and over again, when I talk to our professionals, they say, Rate My Agent gets me new leads. I think that that's such a powerful statement.
I think it also helps convert people, especially now in today's age, we're getting things signed even before meeting the person face to face oftentimes. And I've been using my reviews as a way for people to feel more comfortable knowing that all these other people said these great things about me, that by the time we meet out in person and we're signing the documents, maybe out on the trunk, the car, whatever, before we walk into house number one, they feel that warm fuzzy that, all these people already said that I was doing a good job. So
It's the validation, right?
And though,
There are a couple of people in here I want to point out. Logan Abrams is somebody I just tremendously respect. And when we get an endorsement from somebody like Logan, and then somebody very dear to you, Kathleen, I'm sure, Morgan Perry is saying yes. And she's one of my heroes because she is so familiar with the brand and so familiar with the tools. So thanks to both of you. Um, Anything in the chat line that we need to look at? To answer, Paige?
Yeah, again, is there an app and one login for Rate My Agent? Yes. Search Rate My Agent. If you don't immediately see it in your one login dashboard, you can claim your profile. The benefit there is that you're claiming your Realty One Group member benefit profile. It's going to have some additional branding. We have some enhanced features that you wouldn't get with maybe your MLS provided account. So we recommend using one login to access Rate My Agent.
I don't want to go too far down a rabbit hole, but Jamie is asking, do either of you have a favorite lead gen?
yes. So anything that you can get leads from, use it. Like their office sync, use it. That's a great way to do it because they have what do we call it? It's called Boost by HomeSpotter. If you use that, you could get leads from that, especially if you have listings, boost them, and that's how you get leads from them. We use two systems in our office. We use for lead gen. We use Boomtown and Sync. And as long as you keep, like we said, as long as you guys keep up with it and invest some money into it, budget yourself and some time, you will get a lot more leads. And it helps out so much. I know that whenever we get new agents here at the office and they start learning about these lead gens, they go into a deep dive into it, and that's all they do until they start getting real solid clients, getting their names out there. And again, like you guys said earlier, using the office name and reviews to get them out there helps out a lot, especially when you're making a listing presentation or a buyer's presentation. Put those reviews on those presentations, and clients will start being more impressed and more trusting, especially in a market where people are a little distrusting. Like here in my market, I feel like people have to vet you first, and now with all that tools that we have, it just makes our jobs a lot easier, for sure.
Yeah, so I'm just going to jump in again. Boost is a digital ad platform, and you can also access it through the One Login dashboard.
I use it for like some of my listings right now, and just from last night, I started doing some boosting some last night, and just from last night, I think I got a total of like 60 notifications of leads. And so that's where the first thing in the morning, what you do is you make sure you call all those leads, and if at least you get one of them, that's a good thing. That's an accomplishment to at least get one out of that 16.
Call the leads, follow up on them, right? They're not going to
Yeah.
follow up on you.
Yeah.
No.
Kathleen, what about you? Do you have any lead gen systems?
So I am at this point, I really rely on clients for life, not past clients. We're not supposed to say that. So referrals from them, repeat business, sphere of influence, but I cut out like the Zillow leads and all that stuff. It wasn't good for me. The calls would never come in at the right time, and I just felt like I wasn't able to respond quickly enough. And so right now I'm pretty much referral.
I absolutely love that we've got such diverse ways to build business, and it's so applicable, it's actionable. I want to keep saying that. There's been a question, and I did not mean to skip it, but um, if you could tell us what CRM you're using, what you're using as a tool, if you're using OneSuite, how that's working for you.
I've used OneSuite in the past. I do have the holiday reminder going out still, but I use Wise Agent actually because it's affordable. I send out a monthly newsletter. I can add video to that if I like, and it keeps my contacts organized. So
Okay.
that's what I use.
I use a little bit of both. Like I said earlier, I use both Sync and Boomtown. Uh, I use Sync because a lot of people do actually click on our websites that ROG provides us. So that's a great tool because they're easily customizable, and when people go in there, they register, and you're able to keep track of them there. And then also on Boomtown, that's an office paid system for us to use, and so I take advantage of it as well. With the leads that we receive there, because our office has lenders who sponsor our lead gens. So we make sure to, like I said, take advantage of it, because any business you can get it's always better.
Great. Amy says OneSuite in my own database created with Sync with Calendar app. Now, when it come back around, thank you, thank you. I'm going to ask both of you if you will type in the chat line, maybe your Facebook sites. We've got several people that want to follow you. Scott's got a question for you, Paige. And I want you guys, this is going to be our last question because believe it or not, we're coming to the top of the hour. This has been incredible. I want to ask what would be the one thing that you wish someone had told you? What one thing do you know now that you wish you'd known then?
Wow, I could say like 40 things, but I wrote down 4. So
Okay.
mine, I'm just gonna rattle them off real quick. I would have gotten organized with my contacts right out of the gate because I thought, oh, just 1 or 2 people per month, checking in, knowing that I'm a realtor. That started to get out of control, and I was completely disorganized. I'd write things down on a piece of paper and fly out the car window as I was driving. It was a disaster. So I would get organized. Also with all their information, the birthday, the dog's name, like I don't have any of that organized at all, probably still. I would have gotten my processes in place right away, and I would have used them consistently with every client every time. That's something I've gotten way better with the last couple years. Time block. I've been time blocking a lot more. It makes me feel a lot more peaceful. It makes me feel more focused. So I completely recommend time blocking. And also the last thing would be stick with something long enough that you can actually start measuring the results instead of saying, oh, that didn't work, I'm going to try this. And you're just jumping around to every shiny toy. stick with something long enough so that you can figure out if it's actually worth keeping in your schedule.
How long do you think that is?
It probably depends on what the thing is. For like Zillow or those leads, it's going to be 3 to 6 months just to start seeing things convert and actually get to closing. With things like, the market updates I'm doing, I think it might take a little bit longer, but I think there's some things going on that people don't necessarily announce to me, "Oh, I'm calling you because of the market updates you keep doing." I think they just don't mention that, because I have gotten a couple calls recently that I feel like they're calling me because they've been reminded that I'm constantly talking about real estate. So I think it varies with, whatever you're talking about there.
That's a really good point. Marketing and branding takes longer. We talk about it all the time with our franchise owners. Just the consistency of branding, letting people know that you're in the neighborhoods that you put the market updates in. It takes a while for that to stick in people's mind. It's not like you're just throwing some money at it with this nice flashy ad and you're going to get, 10 leads right there that month. And I think that's one of the hardest parts for realtors, is to stick with it, because you don't know, you do have to go back, and that's why we have our business plan. I think in the business plan, it has you take a look at your business, Kathy, right? Like quarterly or maybe even monthly,
Yes.
to evaluate, what am I spending my time on and what is it doing for my business? Because you can't do everything.
I love that. 2 comments. Amy said that Daniel, and she's referencing our good friend Daniel Collins, says the suggestion was a mark for 6 months and then reevaluate. But I love the word you use, Kathleen, with measurable, because you've got to have data to know if it's working or not. Amy says my lender coached me on taking notes with leads and writing down not only business info, but kids' names, dogs' names, anything else that can relate. One secret I'll give you that I've always done is set a Google alert for your market. So if you've got, let's say that you're in an equestrian group or you're marketing to that group, to set a Google alert, I would put Raleigh, North Carolina equestrian events, and I would get a Google alert every day on that, and then be able to forward that information and say, hey, I saw this today and I thought about you. And Kathleen, back to your point, for repeat and referral business, it sets you apart because you stay top of mind when people think you're at the top of their mind. It becomes a very reciprocal act of opening doors, to let people do that. So Esteban, what do you wish? What did you not know that you wish you'd known?
So being a second generation realtor, kind of came into the business already kind of expecting certain things about the business, but some of the things I did not expect is, like I mentioned, time blocking, that is so important. I knew about that, but I don't know how hard it was to make sure that you're staying on top of it, live off your calendar, making sure that you take notes of conversations or things that clients have told you, because you could easily forget. Um, what else? And also learn to relax, de-stress, have fun with what you do. Don't treat it as a job. It is our profession, correct? But it is also, has to be something that you enjoy, and like, I, every day is something different. And so what is this, what makes this career such an enjoyable career, is that every day is different, and you don't ever know what to expect. But it's better than working a regular 9 to 5 and knowing what you're gonna expect the next day. So for me, it just, that was the only thing I didn't expect, that how much I was actually gonna enjoy it. And like I said before, I wouldn't change my career for anything.
Oh, isn't it? There's such power and strength in that wisdom. And I can only imagine that if Shelley and Mateus and your mom are listening, they have to be extremely proud, because I am. I love when that second generation comes on and carries that torch for amazing customer service and experience. So good job to all the generations represented right here. And Kathleen, wow, thank you for great insight on what to do. And I say all the time, real estate is such a hard business. It truly is servant leadership. We're the only people on earth that work for months and months and months and just hope we'll get paid. And there's a lot, behind that. So we appreciate the two of you so very much. We appreciate how you represent our brand, and we especially appreciate your time today on the call. And Paige and Taylor, thank you. I love this. Here's what Paige and Taylor and I want to ask. We want to ask that if you have any further questions, you go to coaching at realty1group.com. I would also ask everyone on the call to please, please, please go to coaching at realty1group.com and let us hear what topics you would like to discuss at Summit. So if we know you're planning to attend Summit in November, we're building out that right now. We want to be able to share it with you. So give us who you would like to hear from, what things you would like to hear from. One thing I talked to Mark about yesterday, I would love to do a generational panel because I think we've got several people like Esteban that are coming in. Also want to talk about different ways Kathleen is continuing to recapture the market and not have to rebuild business over and over and over. So super excited about that. Taylor, Paige, any closing words?
I would just say, if you've heard something that kind of caught your attention today and you're not really sure where to start, reach out to helpdesk at realty1group.com. Our team will be so excited to help you walk you through all of the steps for adopting a new tool. We have tons of resources in the One Resource Guide as well. So utilize our new friend Roger, who's going to help connect you to the training resources you need to succeed.
Agreed. And thanks for joining us today. Stay learning,
Thank you.
stay positive. Have a great week.
Thank you. And thank you so much, Kathleen and Esteban. We appreciate you. Thanks so much.
Thank you guys for having us.
See you on the 5th.
See you guys soon. Bye.
Bye.